Hello. Um, Today I'm doing a presentation on the International Convention of the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of Their Families. Um, so, first things I would like to go over is some important articles um, of this particular convention. Um, the first ones just define a few terms. Um, And when we get to articles 8 and onwards, we start to see some of the important stuff. Um, Now, these articles are um, articles that are somewhat specific to this convention, and you may not find in others, such as Article 8: migrant workers and their members of their families shall be free to leave any state, including their state of origin. So that's important. Article 9: the right to life uh, of migrant workers. I included this because I'll get onto it a bit later, but there's many cases of this being broken. But it is also mostly universal, the right to life and human rights. Uh, no migrant worker or member of his or her family shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. This is also somewhat universal or very universal in the realm of human rights, but it has also been broken a few times, which I will get to. Article 11. Uh, Now these articles are more of the universal ones, like slavery. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Article 12. Have the right to freedom of thought and whatnot. In Article 13, migrant workers and members of their family shall have the right to hold opinions. Um, First, I would like to go to a case in Saudi Arabia where we see here on the map that Saudi Arabia has actually taken no action to sign off or implement these articles or the convention in their law, in their code of laws. And we see here that TRT reports an interview with several detainees held in a deportation center in Riyadh, where migrant workers have been tortured and abused continuously. So there are many, many cases of migrant workers in Saudi Arabia, um, which have been subject to torture and abuse. Which obviously it breaks Article 10, where it says no one should be subjected to torture or cruel behavior, and possibly Article 9, where there have been reported deaths of migrant workers, although not particularly linked to events of torture, but it is highly probable considering the reports of torture in Saudi Arabia. And another very obvious example is the Qatar World Cup in 2022 and the preparations to that, including apparently reported by The Guardian, very reliable news outlet. 6,500 migrant workers have died in Qatar since the World Cup was awarded uh, back in the earlier this decade or last decade, including coming from countries such as India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And they have died constructing what we see here, some beautiful stadiums, and of course hotels to accommodate the Qatar 2022 World Cup, and all the infrastructural needs to accommodate this global event. Yeah, and as we can see here as well, um, sorry. Qatar is also not taken action to ratify any any part of this convention. And Qatar also, it's no, it's worth taking note, an incredibly small country in landmass, and basically just city of Doha, and that is where this is taking place. Um, there is also appeal to consider Article 21, which I haven't mentioned. As you can see here, Article 21. It shall be unlawful for anyone other than a public official uh, duly authorized by law to confiscate, destroy, or attempt to destroy identity documents, authorizing entry or stay, residence or establishment, etc., etc. Um, there have been many reports of migrant workers that have worked for the Qatar World Cup in preparation for this, that they enter the country under a specific contract. They are offered, as soon as they enter, their documents are taken away from them, and then they are given what much less than what they earn on the contract until the end of their stay, which actually goes against Article 21. You're not allowed to confiscate any documents that are subject to identity of human being. Um, next, also want to talk about the West and its implications on the migrant worker situation. As we can see, quite surprisingly, a lot of these Western countries, such as the U.S., Canada, France, the UK, Germany, have not um, taken any action to ratify the convention. And this is surprising due to the amount of migrants and migrant workers in general in the US. So, here, for example, I can actually show you 14% of the nation's residents are foreign born, and over half of whom are naturalized US citizens. Nearly 70% of all immigrants who come from diverse backgrounds across the globe report. Okay, that actually doesn't matter. So, there are 14% uh, nation's residents are foreign born. I mean, that is a lot of migrants in the US in particular, and it is surprising to see a country with that many migrants not being able to ratify any part of this convention. Also, see the likes of UK, for example, here. 18%, the foreign born made up is an estimated 18% of employed population in the UK, which is comes to 5.9 million migrant workers in the UK. And France, 4.9 immigrants in France in the in 2004 only, which was representing 8% of the French population. Germany, here we can see 9 million adult migrants in Germany. A lot of them have to be migrant workers as well, and I'd also like to point out some other countries such as Australia, Spain, Canada as well. Um, all these countries that have high numbers of migrants and migrant workers, um, don't actually take action to ratify parts of the convention. Where we see countries like these North African countries and these countries in crisis, most of the time, where migrants actually come out from, have ratified this convention in our state party. Um, as well, would like to point out China and its 1 billion, 28 million population with a total of 307 migrations. And China has broken many human rights laws concerning migrant workers in the past, and other human rights laws in general. Thank you.